seriously, like not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now. So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Something custom quiere conservar con Felino. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and
Hey, welcome to WannaBet. Ben, I don't see it on my Twitter, so I don't know if that's a problem or not.
I think here it should be there.
Should be there now.
Yeah, it should be there now.
Because I was going to obviously make sure everybody knows that we're going live. There we go. There we go. Let me just retweet that. And here we go. It is WannaBet. We have my pal Mackenzie Brooks from CBS Sportsline joining us. Beltway Ben is always here on the wheels of steel. And if you haven't joined us before, it's pretty simple. We've got three bets we really like: first, second, and third down. Fourth and long, we will kick around. Today, some long shot NBA Finals parlays. Ben and I and our other guests have really kind of covered the nuts and bolts of this game, and we'll do that again with Mackenzie. But a chance to maybe go a little bit more long shot to make some money on fourth and long. And then overtime, our dog of the day, the Indiana Pacers. Could you find it in your heart to back them on the money line tonight? And we'll also learn about our dog of the day, Mackenzie's dog, Miley, who is no longer with us, but definitely led a full life. And we will learn a little bit more about Miley and a lot about the Pacers. So Mackenzie, if you can take us behind the curtain a little bit. I have been at Sportsline for 3 years. Obviously, there's data scientists there. There's algorithms involved in putting together models that produce predictive outcomes for these props and individuals and games and all that stuff. What all sort of goes into that? What's your role in that? How did you become sort of, I guess, infatuated with that?
Yeah, I mean, going back to college, I was not a journalism major. I was like a computer science coding type of major, data analytics.
Okay.
So that was kind of always my first background. And then the sports media stuff followed. And I got into sports betting in college because I knew it would be a quicker line than trying to be a female in sideline reporting. So I was like, if I can get into betting, this might, help me get somewhere quicker. And then when I started with Sportsline doing social media stuff, I found the Sportsline model crew, which is like the coding guys with our fantasy football projections, your automated March Madness bracket, all of those things. And they have all this great information. They just don't really want to be on air explaining it. And since I understand their brain, I also want to be on air. It really was a perfect storm of just kind of being like the voice of the coding nerds that don't want to be on air. So it's been about 2 years of that, me and the crew there. So I'm a little bit involved behind the scenes and all of those things, but mostly just trying to take our information that we have and casualize it to the normal fan.
But like the behind the scenes making of the sausage,
right?
Like I'm guessing a lot of that is highly proprietary, right? Like what metrics you value over others, how things are weighted to get you to these ultimate sort of outcomes that when people go to Sportsline, they see the model predicting a game score, the model predicting point, rebounds, assists, the model predicting certain ebbs and I guess sort of the way they think that game might flow out.
Exactly. So to the gist of it is like we're rerunning the same situation like 10,000 times, and then it kind of spits out an average of the highs of that, the highs and lows of the bell curve of that to kind of come up with an actual score and actual projections. When it comes to the NBA specifically, since we're talking about that a lot, we do weigh a ton on home road splits. Like there's enough data because there's so many games in the season that we kind of see a team as two different teams. There's the home version of themselves and the road version of themselves. So a ton of time, especially in the regular season, when I go on Sportsline, I'm talking about, okay, but this team on the road, their point differential on the road, their turnover margin on the road. So the secret sauce as far as NBA, really the three main factors, or four, I'd say, is 2-point differential, turnover margin, 3-point differential, and rebounding differential are really like the four nuts and bolts of what it comes down to. Now we can upgrade stuff and downgrade stuff based off rest, based off players being injured or not playing 100%. That kind of becomes like a manual judgment call. But as far as like what the model's automating out, those are probably like the four biggest factors as far as NBA. And it's nice when you have such a large sample size from a full season, but it does take account past seasons too, and we're wary of that as well. Like a Colorado football, we know that whatever was happening last season isn't happening the next season. So it's a little bit of like AI, but with a human touch.
And then we want to get into the bets, but I had one more. I don't know if Ben, you had any, but like, how often do you fight the machine now, or are you basically just one with the machine?
I'd say I'm definitely more often one with the machine than fighting it. I'll recognize when it's time to fade it sometimes. Like there'll be really skewed numbers if there was crazy one freak, outlier game or things like that. But I'd say for the most part, like after it's been 2 years, like my brain and my opinions kind of think the same way that is.
Right. No, that's pretty wild. It's interesting, those factors that you mentioned, because I hadn't heard that before, but those are definitely metrics that I weight a lot. I also kind of like to, once we get deeper into the season, true shooting percentage, pace, are things I'll factor in. I play a lot of over-unders, a lot of team total overs, a lot of game overs. So those are things I look at. Awesome. Well, what is your first bet of the day? You and the model, the human and the machine as one. What do you like on first down, Mackenzie?
For first down, we were looking at fading the Pacers in a few different ways, but my first down play, I'm going to go with the Pacers team total under. Now it was around 110.5. You can find it at 111.5 now. So I guess there's really not too much of a rush to get to there so far. I just don't think they have the front court beef to compete with OKC. And if you're not getting offensive rebounds, you're not getting offensive putbacks, makes it really, really hard to cover some of these team totals. And again, I think OKC will be aware of what this Pacers team can do in a fourth quarter. So I feel like they're going to be guns blazing for 4 quarters. They won't take any chances. I don't think we get a backdoor, they get over this number. But I mean, this defense is, this team, I could go on forever about how it's the best team in NBA history and in one of the best Western conferences we've seen in NBA history to that. So I think this is an OKC smackdown, but the first way I want to fade the Pacers is the team total.
Yeah, I've played Pacers team total overs pretty religiously in the playoffs. I'm not on them here. I'll get to my team totals later, but you mentioned sort of the turnover ratio and assist to turnovers, and that's where I think the Pacers are screwed here, because the only team that's better in that regard in the league than them is OKC, and they've got to go into that Thunderdome the first 2 games where it's going to be loud, it's going to be crazy, it's like a college environment, and I almost feel like OKC has better secret sauce than them.
Big time. You can't out OKC. Right. I've loved the Pacers against certain teams. I've loved Minnesota against the Lakers, all because they're deeper, more athletic, and a cleaner team and better on the road. But you cannot. OKC is the poster child of all those things. You can't beat them there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Beltway Ben, what you got?
Starting the WNBA here. I'm going to go with Sawtooth. Oh yeah, we lost our first WNBA pick, but we'll try to bounce back.
I like her. We fight on.
Yeah, just keep moving forward. I like her over 21.5 points at -102. Alyssa Thomas is going to be out for her 4th straight game tonight. Sabally is averaging 21.7 points without Thomas. She's over in 2 games. The one she went under was a blowout, and she played just 21 minutes. Golden State's front court defense has been one of the worst in the WNBA this year. If you look over their last few games, Nafisa Collier, 24 points, Brianna Stewart, 27 and 24 in those 2 games. And then De'Erica Hamby had 25. And I get it. Those are some of the better bigs, but Sabally is as well. She's having a really good year. She was good before they traded her from Dallas. So this should be a tight game. I think she'll play the majority. I don't think we're going to have to worry about the 21 minutes like we did in the last game. So I like her to go over 21.5 points at -102.
I respect a WNBA man. I'm getting there myself. We were in a WNBA fantasy league in the office.
That's exciting. That is WNBA. I think there's a lot of ways. We're telling Jason, there's a lot of ways to make money in the WNBA. I think. I don't think the numbers move. I don't think the numbers move as much.
2 summers ago, pre-Caitlin Clark, that was the most money I've ever made in my life, was betting that summer. Now they're a little more. Pay a little more attention. But pre-Caitlin Clark was just a gold mine.
Yeah, I've got to get more tuned in. I will once I think the NBA ends, and I think the NBA is pretty close to ending. I I'm not going crazy with football props, I promise, but we have had a weird week here where there hasn't been much going on in terms of game inventory. So we've been covering some of those here. One that's on the board for plus money that I don't think is going to be there forever is the Texans to win the AFC South. You can get it at plus 125. If you look around, it's at plus 115 in one other book. And then it's starting to be plus money not available. First of all, I don't buy anybody else in this division. Like, I don't buy them by a long shot. They've got the best coach in the division. They've got the best quarterback in the division. I think they've got the best defense in the division. They got the offensive coordinator out of there, who I thought was Fugazi and Slowick. I believe you'll start to see CJ Stroud replicate his home form at least a little bit more on the road. Talk about home road splits. They've had obscene home road splits offensively the last couple of years. I think that they'll be able to get that a little bit more under check. Do I love the offensive line? No. But I also feel like schematically they didn't do enough to address the offensive line. They didn't lean into high percentage passes, the quick hitters. More people flooding the zone between 0 and 10 yards downfield. There's adjustments that'll be made. CJ Stroud is a legitimate top 10 quarterback. People want to coronate this kid in Jacksonville, the new head coach. We'll see. I think Trevor Lawrence is broken, and I think Cohen's got a long road to hoe. The Colts don't have a quarterback as best I could tell, and Tennessee's got a big, big, big hole to dig out of. So I think Houston wins this division comfortably.
Do you have any concern with the Stroud injury, or are you just not buying that?
I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
It's so sad with this team because, and I think this is exactly what's going to happen with the Commanders. Like, Stroud has an awesome rookie year, which we were all over because the schedule was so easy. Like, yeah, you're going to have 70% completion percentage if the teams you're playing allow 70% completion percentage.
Yeah.
But then you go into his second year, and I don't even think he had a bad year, but like the bar was so high at that point that anything he was going to do was going to feel like regression, but it's just their schedule getting harder. So now I feel like we're back to like, he's in an even playing field. We don't have crazy expectations of this team, but I think the Commanders are about to be Houston 2.0.
I'm fading the Commanders. The closer we get to football season, we'll hear more of that. We talked a little bit about that with Nick Costos. I am totally fading the Commanders. Mm-hmm. The difference here is there's no Philadelphia Eagles. Like, There's not even a Dak Prescott who any given week maybe could make Dallas better than they should be. Like, I just don't buy anything that's going on anywhere else. And, 9 wins could win this division.
Yeah.
Like 9 wins could win this division. So for plus money, I'll play that. All right, second down, Beltway Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the MLB here. I'm going to go with Schwarber over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at minus 110. And I love taking Schwarber's hits, runs, and RBIs because you can always get it at minus 110. A lot of his ribbies are coming off of home runs, so they don't really give you many juice plays with the hits, runs, and RBIs. But right now, he's due for a home run, but it's not like he's cold. 310, 333, 552 slash line in his last 7 games. 7 for 16 with 2 home runs off of Bassett in his career. And lefties have been mashing Bassett. We saw him get off to a stellar start. He looked like one of the best starters in baseball, but he's regressed, and he looks like kind of what we saw from him last year. But lefties slashing 321, 367, 500 against him. Schwarber's been a bit better on the road. I think Schwarber probably goes yard today, but I'm just going to take his hits, runs, and RBIs to be safe at minus 110.
I will be in MLB as well on second down. I'm going to take the Yankees on the run line in the first 5. I kind of like the fact that they didn't hit last night. That's fine. That's fine with me. I think they're going to hit Slade Ciccone today. Slade Cicone's got a 5.28 ERA. He couldn't quite cut it out there with the Diamondbacks where he was a high draft pick. I think he's in a tough spot against this Yankees lineup. And Max Fried's on the mound for the Yankees. And the Diamondbacks, why did I say the Diamondbacks? The Guardians. Slade Ciccone used to be with the Diamondbacks. They're playing the Guardians today. He pitches for the Guardians now. The Guardians, when they faced a lefty the other night in Rodon, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, 8K, 1 walk. Cleveland is in the bottom 10 of all major league teams in K rate against lefties, and it's Max Fried and his 1.69 ERA at home against them. The Yankees are 6-0 at home when Fried's on the bump, 5-1 on the run line. They have a plus 32 run differential in Max Fried's 6 home starts. And the Yankees bats at home in the first 5 innings for the season. Number 1 in walk rate, number 1 in isolated power, number 3 in slug. I think Slade Ciccone is in trouble today, and I think Max Fried will keep being Max Fried. Mackenzie, second down.
I'm telling you, if this isn't like an OKC just smackdown, I'm going
Bloodbath?
to be in trouble.
Me too.
I'm going to go to Chet. We're going to go player prop here with over 27.5 PRA for Chet Holmgren. I faded him. I followed him throughout the playoffs. I think this series specifically should be a pretty solid matchup for him. I don't think we'll get 27.5 forever, at least through this series. I think he honestly could sprinkle a double-double on him. Like, I think the rebounding mismatch is finally going to be a really good spot for him. And I think he'll play enough minutes. When he plays 30-plus minutes, you look back to last series, he's 3-0 to this number. So I just feel like, this whole offense should be, having a field day. I think the assists will come, the points will come. The rebounds, though, is really where I think we'll see the difference between this series and previous series in the playoffs, and the minutes in general. Again, knowing that the Pacers could always come back in the fourth quarter, I don't think they'll take any chances here.
Yeah, I think OKC's in a great spot. And they have played twice already this year with incredibly long layoffs of a week or more. And they came out and blasted their opponents in the first half of those games. So there wasn't, however they're practicing on these long breaks seems to be working for them. I am in the NBA on third down. The first two plays I made in the NBA finals for game one, I had made some plays involving OKC beating the Pacers in 5 well prior to that. But as soon as we got, the Pacers beating the Knicks, within an hour of those markets populating, the first two things I hammered was I got the over at 229, which is long gone, and I got OKC over 118.5. It's since moved north of 120, which it should. You can still play it on the alt line with some juice at 118.5. We talked about it at the beginning of the show here. Like OKC run and gun at home like nobody else. They have the number one offensive rating at home. In the playoffs, they're scoring 123 points per game at home. They're playing at the fastest pace at home. These long layoffs have not hurt them before. They scored over 60 points in the first half of the game ones against Memphis after a long layoff. They did it again in the last round after a long layoff. So I'm not really worried about that. The Pacers are allowing 114 a game in the playoffs on the road. And think about the kind of static, stoic offenses that they've played. And they didn't really get to run at their pace at MSG and some of these other environments, even at Cleveland, the way I thought they might. So, they're still allowing 114 a game. OKC has scored 118 or more in 8 of their last 10 at home and 16 of their last 19 games at home. I think they go over 120, but I'm playing it a little conservative here for you guys today and taking it at the 118.5. Mackenzie, third down.
Just going to take the good old spread here with OKC minus the 9.5. I think this honestly would be, and probably will end up being later in the series, a double-digit spread. I think the only reason it's not is because Indiana's quote-unquote good on the road, but they're not better than OKC at home. I can tell you that. Even they got around an even turnover margin, like we were talking about, one of those key factors. But OKC's +6. They're pretty good 2-point differential on the road, but OKC's +7% at home. Even if you're going to be a decent team on the road, beating OKC at home or even covering that number just seems very, very difficult to me. Again, going back to the Pacers in the fourth quarter, I really think these starters for OKC will stay in almost the entire game, taking no chances for that game one at home here. So I think that honestly ends up helping us. I don't think they'd ever risk a backdoor cover in this game specifically, but the rebounding, the Pacers got out rebounded by the Knicks basically every game, and they were a better 3-point shooting team, which kept them alive through the series. You're not going to be a better 3-point shooting team than OKC at home specifically. We haven't even seen the ceiling of them yet. I think we haven't even seen the full potential, which is terrifying. So while we can still get a single-digit spread, I think we should take it.
I'm with you, and I love the -5 in the first half. Beltway Ben.
I'm going to go with Siakam over 19.5 points. I was on his points prop for the full series a few days ago, but he's over this in just one of 3 series openers this playoff. But this is a different situation. NBA Finals, I'm very confident Tyrese Halliburton's going to have an off night. Scoring has to come from somewhere. We've seen Siakam in the finals before. He was second or third best player on that Raptors team that took down the Warriors. I like the Chet matchup for Siakam. He can body him around a little bit. And when you look through their team, I know they're going to go deep, and I know they're going to do what they do, but this is the NBA Finals now, and you rested your starters all of that time. We've also seen him play more minutes in the first game than he has in the rest of the first 3 series, and I think that will continue here. I don't think they have any chance in the series, but the one guy that I do think will show up for them is Siakam. So I like him to go over 19.5 points tonight.
Yeah, I like it as well. Okay, time for fourth and down. I did that yesterday too. Fourth and long, where we're looking at long shots. We're looking at payoffs that might come a long time down the road, or things with a little bit longer odds. Ben and I each kind of looked into some of these, and I don't do this much, but there was so much time before the start of this game. Some of these exotic markets where they're giving you the leader in points, the leader in rebounds, the leader in assists for game one with a bunch of different odds. Some of them are put together yourself, some that you can look at. So I have one that I did put a few bucks on, and Ben has one as well. Ben, what did you play? And we'll see if Mackenzie and I are on board.
Yeah, I looked at the points in the series. Any team to score 140 points at plus 320.
I saw that.
I just don't. This team could come out tonight, and the Pacers have taken a step forward defensively this year. We continue to talk about it. They have, but they're still not great defensively. Yeah. And the Thunder at home, you guys talked about earlier, this is practically a college arena. It's the closest to it. Maybe the Clippers are second, but this crowd gets into it. We know they can run. And quite honestly, like even Minnesota scored 143 against the Thunder. So I'm not counting on the Pacers to do it, but at home, could they do it? Possibly. We're getting both teams with a chance to do it. I think the Thunder do it at home in one of these first two games. They've done it before. This is nothing new to them. They went for 149 in that game against Denver coming off of the loss. If they do lose a game in this series, which I think it's a 4-1 series, could be a sweep though. If they do lose, you know they're going to bounce back. You know they're going to be on shooting the basketball. So I think they're going to go over 140. But again, with any team to score it, like Minnesota is not what Indiana is offensively. Anthony Edwards, one of the best players in the NBA, but the Pacers are a lot more deep. They shoot the ball a little better. They did it. So I don't know why the Pacers possibly couldn't. But again, at plus 320, I'm going to go with any team to score 140 plus.
What do you think, Mackenzie?
Someone actually tweeted that at me and asked me about it, and I don't hate it. I wish it was better than plus 320. Like I don't know. Yeah. I feel like that should have a 4 in front of it. But I don't disagree. Like I do think it is very much possible here.
Well, you kind of said it before, like OKC are assassins. Like they don't really care about running up the score. Like they want to run up the score. Like I think if they're in a situation they've already scored 120 and they can keep Caruso on the court, you know what I mean? Like shooting threes from the baseline uncontested. Like, I don't think they're going to call off the dogs. Like, I don't think they're going to say, put your headband over your eyes and stop shooting those. You know what I mean? Stop shooting
like their
threes.
Scrubs are starting players on other teams. Yeah. I mean, even Aaron Wiggins, who's benched, he was averaging like 25 points at a point.
Terps.
Like,
Terps legend. Like,
what do you mean? Like, oh, let's go throw in our goon squad. That's like a starting lineup in the Eastern Conference.
Wiggins had 40 points in a game earlier this year.
And he's like not playing. It's literally point differential wise the best team in NBA history. So if there's a time to take spreads and crazy numbers, it's going to be with this team.
Well, and even the Pacers, like when the Pacers got in trouble against the Knicks is when they got up by 20 and stopped running. So like if they build up a big first half lead in one of these games at home, like you know what Carlisle's going to be saying, we might need 135 to win this thing. So I'm gonna get put a little something on that. Something that I looked at for game one. I didn't put a lot of money on it, but I did put a little. 15-1 SGA to lead game one in assist, SGA to lead all scorers in game one, and Hartenstein to lead all rebounders. Now, a lot of people are on Holmgren rebounds. I think on the defensive end of the court, Hartenstein's going to be the guy who probably collects a lot more of the cheapies. When they miss those runners, when McConnell misses the 12-foot pull-up, I think that's Hartenstein. I think you might see Holmgren out on the wing a little bit more, Holmgren defending on the perimeter, and then Holmgren to get down court, to score off the missed shots. But I look at what he did as a Knick against this Pacers team, and they're a little better inside this year than last year for sure, and maybe a little bit better on the offensive boards, but not great. So that's for 15-1. That's where I went. Can I interest anybody in that? Would you play that a little differently with somebody else as the leading scorer, somebody else? I kind of thought about Halliburton on assists and keeping SGA on points and keeping Hartenstein on rebounds, but
I was a big Hartenstein girl through the regular season. Through the playoffs, he hasn't done all that for me. Like I don't know if I want to series lead him anything, but I am I mean, Stephen O literally bought me a Hartenstein jersey because I bet on him like 15 of the 25 days of Christmas when I was doing like a series of that. So I hope for you this is a Hartenstein moment.
Yeah. Well, over 6.5 rebounds. That's the one I really need. But if this were to cash, obviously I'd be happy.
15-1. I mean,
yeah.
I have how about a 33-1 here?
I love it.
I just don't like Jalen Williams MVP price is 33-1. I think it should be long. I think it should be 10-1, 12-1, 33-1 for the second best player. Like after we saw Siakam win Eastern Conference Final MVP, after we saw Jaylen Brown last year win MVP, Iguodala won MVP, like there's voter fatigue for SGA, I'm sure of it. And unless like the ceiling we have for SGA is so high, the things he'll have to do for us to say he exceeded our expectations, it's going to be insane. For Jalen Williams, I think it takes one of those competitive, it's a close game, and like he's the defensive stop. He's the offensive play that wins them the game. And if we have like one or two Jalen Williams like shining moments, I think that's enough for voters to 33-1. Like, are we for real? That's just wild to me.
That was interesting to me. And then we talked about this with Ariel Epstein on Monday when we looked at the finals markets. Holmgren, who you obviously like this matchup, he's at 80-1.
Yeah.
Like I kind of felt like he should be more like 50-1 and Williams should be more like 20-25-1. Like that seemed off to me. For Vegas pricing this as OKC's winning this, no ifs and buts. And SGA had a great conference finals and still didn't get the award. Like it seems oddly priced.
Yeah. Something like he is great. He's the best player on the team. Don't get me wrong, but like he's not been completely himself through the playoffs. Like we haven't seen peak SGA. So I just after winning, if he didn't win regular season MVP, I'd feel a lot differently about this, but you just always get the voter fatigue. And I just think like anything above 15-1 for Williams is worth it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, if somebody other than SGA wins finals MVP, then some people out there are going to be really happy because they're going to be getting whoever else it is. You're going to like the payoff. Well, I think I know where this one is going. And last and probably least, in overtime today, we have our dog of the day. Our dog of the day is the Indiana Pacers, but our dog of the day is also Mackenzie's dog Miley, who is no longer with us. But is that you and your siblings there, I guess, at the beach?
Yes, that is us at the beach. That's Avalon, New Jersey. I'm actually headed on a flight after this show to go see them. My brother in the middle is graduating high school this weekend. Congrats. So, yeah, big week for the Brooks family. I'm glad Miley's here.
Did she like the beach? She looks like she looks like
time. Big swimmer, very big swimmer.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, she rocks.
We definitely want to celebrate Miley as our dog of the day. Now, when we do this, we usually have like a smaller dog if you were going to sprinkle on this proposition, or we got a bigger picture here, although Miley's a little younger there. But we got the whole, we've got the whole posse here. Could you sprinkle on the Pacers to steal game one for at plus 330, Mackenzie? Does this do anything for you whatsoever?
I think it needs to be plus 400 again. Like that's like plus 330 is just not going to be enough. I mean, they would have to take the OKC's okay rebounding and just like eat it. Like Miles Turner has to put up the combined the amount of rebounds he put in the Knicks series, he would have to put up in the single game, I feel like, for us to like get close to this. So I think there are better ways to bet it than taking them. Like I bet you can get, a better priced parlay of like somebody's double and Halliburton triple double, because that's what it would take.
Yeah, I almost feel like I would be more inclined, if I'm looking for that kind of value, to play an alt line on OKC to win by like 14.5.
Yeah, agreed.
But wait, Ben, your thoughts on the Pacers tonight? I'm Mr. Pacer. Yeah, you're punting.
I know.
Proposition.
I know.
The great punter.
I'll be quite honest. There's like been two teams in my life, or since I've started betting, that I've been so wrong on so much. The Pacers are one, and the Washington Huskies in 2023 or the other. I could have swore they were going to lose the first Oregon game. They pulled that one out. Then the rematch, Jason, if you remember, I had the future on Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon loses that. Bo Nix throws all those picks. They win that. I thought they were going to lose to Texas and Ewers. They win that. And then I was like, I'm not betting the national championship. And, of course, they get blown out by Michigan. So that's kind of how I feel like with this. Like the Pacers, I've said so many times, like I don't see them winning. I thought the Bucks had a chance. I didn't think they'd win the series, but I thought the Bucks had a chance. They looked awful, and the Dame injury didn't help. And then the Cavs, every single game, I'm like, all right, the Cavs are going to turn it on and figure it out. They didn't. And then last series, the Knicks, Jason was all over the Pacers.
I tried to get you on the Pacers before that series started, brother.
I've used Adam Gase more than anything on this show with the Pacers, and I have to use it again. I don't see, like, when you look at the team, we hear so much about the depth and how they can go. Ben Shepherd can come in after playing 0 minutes in the fourth quarter and give them good defense and knock down a three. Like, it's weird, but OKC has that with way more talent. We talked about Wiggins. We've talked about Caruso. We talked about Joe. Like, they have all of this depth that's more talented than what Indiana has. I cannot buy them, especially in game one. And I know the Thunder laid an egg in game one against Nuggets, but I just think they're going to step on their throats at home. I don't see Indiana having any shots tonight.
Because now we can't say they're not battle tested. Like that was everyone's like, oh, what have they done? Like they just went toe to toe for 7 games with the best player in the world and made clutch shot after clutch shot. So now I'm like, sorry, there's literally no bad things I can say about this team. I will say, I just looked, Tyrese Halliburton triple doubles 21-1, which is prettier than the plus 330 money line. I mean, his assist line's 8.5. His points are not the problem. It's the rebound line that's 4.5. That's obviously a little dicey, but 21-1 is not bad.
No, not at all. Well, and what Ben said is interesting there too. Like it's self-scouting, right? And that's something that's not really going to show up in an algorithm or whatever, but kind of knowing. Like I'm very superstitious, so yeah, like there's certain teams where I just feel like. No, even when I have a great feel on them, or we talked about Rudy Gobert props a couple of weeks ago. Like I'm just out. Like after a while, I'm just out because whether I fade him or whether I back him, I can't figure out which version of him we're going to get. Right? So if the Pacers are that for you, then yeah, just sit it out and spend your money elsewhere. Well, everybody can check out Mackenzie on the Early Edge and what is the 6 o'clock show called?
Primetime pregame.
On CBS Sports HQ and on Twitter. Well, I still call it Twitter and social media. We hope you have a great flight. We're in the Mid-Atlantic region right now. We're in Baltimore, Ben and I. It's finally feeling like summer. You're coming at the perfect time. 80 degrees. It rained all May. Like things look good from a weather standpoint. So safe travels to you. Ben and I will be back tomorrow with our buddy Tim Murray from VSiN. And Ben, let's have our AI friends take us out.